Greetings, everybody. I am so excited to be doing this enthusiastic review for the brand new Rolling Stones album called Hackney Diamonds. Now, if any of you saw a video that I did just recently, I was talking about how difficult it was for me to get this because apparently I'm not the only one. All across, at least the New York area, people were having trouble getting these. I think that the idea was that there was something wrong with the shipping or the timing, and not everybody could locate it. But I didn't get it on day of release, but I got it on the second day, and boy, was it worth it. It was worth it for all the headache that I endured to find it. And the question was going to be, is it good enough that I'm going to get it on vinyl? It is better than good. It is very good. It is, to me, a great Rolling Stones album. One of my favorites now for sure, and I will be getting the vinyl. Only one copy of the vinyl. I'm not interested in like 30 some odd versions of the baseball team logos and things like that. Anyway, let me tell you, I only gave this one listen, and that's all that I needed. I didn't need to hear it again, but I will play it again and again. This will get many repeat views for me. Listen, the reason why I bought this in the first place, some people think, well, I'm a Beatles fan and Paul McCartney plays bass on one song, so I got it just because Paul is on it and I want to fill my Beatles collection. Well, nothing could be further from the truth, I want to tell you first, because the Beatles have done a lot of stuff on other people's albums. Ringo Starr has played drums on other people's albums. George Harrison played guitar on people's albums. Paul plays bass and or other instruments. And I don't go out and immediately buy those releases just because the ex-Beatles guest on a track or two. I don't do that. The reason I got it was because I loved the first single, Angry. I thought that was classic Stones. And so, I went ahead and said, oh, I want this song. So I'll probably get the album based on that. And then when I heard almost unanimous positive word of mouth from fans, I said, oh, this sounds good across the board, so I'm going to try it. And turns out a few people didn't like it, but they seem to be in the minority at this early stage from what I can decipher. Well, okay, let me tell you. First of all, I would say this is solid from start to finish. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's got 12 tracks on here. I think every song, all 12 is good. And for me, from my experience of the Stones albums I've listened to, other than maybe Some Girls or maybe Sticky Fingers and a couple of others, there are not many albums for me personally in the Stones' career that are really wall-to-wall great, or everything's good. This one is an exception for me anyway. It sounds like the 80s Stones. The Stones here sound even 70s at times, from the 1970s or 80s. I definitely think it's the best album since Tattoo You in 1981. There were a couple of songs I liked off the 1989 album Steel Wheels, but I think this is the most, consistently good record since about Tattoo You. Mick Jagger's voice is youthful here and strong, and he hasn't missed a beat, hasn't aged a day. I don't know. I don't know if it's because of auto tuning. As I've said many times, I really can't decipher auto tune that well, unless it's really extreme auto tune, like you hear in the song "Believe" by Cher. I really don't pick it up, but I'm glad I don't pick it up. If some of you say, "Oh my God, I can't stand a certain person's vocals here on a record because it sounds so auto-tuned," I feel sorry for you because I don't notice it that much unless it's blatant and exaggerated. So that's okay for me. Um, so I don't know if Mick's voice has been enhanced in any way, but that doesn't matter. Who cares? It sounds great, and that's all there is to it. Now, on this particular album, we got guest stars. I don't know if the Rolling Stones ever pulled out all the stops like this before and had this many guest stars on one of their records. This one has Paul McCartney on a track. It has Elton John on 2 tracks. It has Lady Gaga on a track, and it also has Stevie Wonder on piano, unless I missed anybody, but that's a lot of guests on here. Also, Charlie Watts, rest in peace, figures on 2 tracks here, and Bill Wyman, the Stones bass player from the good old days, appears here too. All right, so Let's see. What I love about this too is that here are the Rolling Stones in their late 70s or 80s, and again, old people showing today's youth how it's done. This is how you make a record. This is how you rock. This is how you make something good. The old timers still beat the newbies every time, for me, and this is really proof positive of that. Hackney Diamonds. Okay, let's talk about some of the songs. I jotted down a list here, which songs on first listen, mind you. Even though I did enjoy every single song on here, I'm going to tell you the songs that I feel are my personal favorites on the first impressions. Listen, first of all, "Angry," the opening track. It's like I said, it's classic. It's got like start me up vibes when it starts. I think I may be listening to another modern start me up, but it gets beyond that before, and Mick has never sounded better. Now, somebody told me that Mick is only auto-tuned on the song "Angry" and not really anywhere else. I don't know. I don't know all those details, but I love it. A great way to start the album, and I consider the song "Angry" like a top tier Rolling Stones. It's going to be in my top Rolling Stones picks from this day forward. The second song that is called "Get Close," and it was such a surprise for me. I really loved it. Second track. As soon as it started, I got a "Can't You Hear Me Knocking" kind of vibe out of it. And Elton John is on piano on that track. Really pleasant surprise. I loved it. And we were two tracks in, and I was really getting into this. Uh, all the songs again are solid, but I'm going to my favorites. Then the fourth track is "Bite My Head Off." "Bite My Head Off" is the track that guest stars Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney plays a really distorted kind of fuzz bass sound, and it's been said that this is like kind of punk, and I think so. It's really kind of messy all over the place, really up tempo rock. And the songs that rock on this album, by the way, and they're not all rock, but solidly the ones that are rock, really rock. I mean, they're really perfect, classic sounding rock on these things. The lyrics in "Bite My Head Off" are a little silly, but what do you expect? The title's silly too, but that's okay. Some of the best rock and roll songs, Bebop and stuff like that, have silly lyrics. It's not always the number one thing in a rock song to have great lyrics, Tutti Frutti. Anyway, then there's a surprise track that I like called "Dreamy Skies." "Dreamy Skies" is very mellow, very more of a laid back. Mick Jagger repeats, "I gotta take a break from it all." What I like about this album, as I say, is that the songs here are they're all tight. First of all, it's a very tight album. The songs are very tight. The musicians are very tight, and I like that the songs, a lot of them, if not all of them, have catchy choruses. Like that one I mentioned here, "I got to take a break from it all" in "Dreamy Skies." It stays in my head, and you win me over when you have a song that's got a catchy chorus and it stays with me right away. Even on first listen, I'm like, yeah, yeah, it's speaking to me. It's resonating. So that's good. Then I have two tracks I like. I'll put them together. One track is "Mess It Up," and the other track is "Live by the Sword." And the reason why I mentioned "Mess It Up" and "Live by the Sword" together is because both of them have Charlie Watts on the drums. And Elton John plays piano on "Live by the Sword," and also "Live by the Sword," as far as I could see. I'm sorry if I missed it in the notes. "Live by the Sword" is the only track I think that has Bill Wyman on bass, but maybe I missed something. Sorry about that if I did. I want to put in a good word for a track here that kind of is the last real official song on the album. It's called "Sweet Sounds of Heaven." That's the sublime song that has Lady Gaga guesting on it, and she really adds a lot to it. I gotta say, it's a beautiful track, very poignant. It's the longest track on the album. I think it's over 7 minutes. But although it's the longest track, it really works, and it has a grand finale feel to everything. It's really the perfect way to go out with the album. Now, um, I said it's kind of officially the last song, but there is one other thing that's tagged on to the end, and it's called "Rolling Stone Blues," which is a Muddy Waters song. And this begs the question now, as to whether or not this is going to be the Stones' last album. Some people speculate it will be. Some people say, well, the Stones already said they've got other tracks, including, I think, McCartney on another track, maybe. So maybe there's more to come. But I think they got this so right, and people are almost unanimously praising this and saying this is very good, that I think this would be a great album to go out on. You want to go out on a positive note, guys? Should be your last album. If you want to release the other stuff afterwards as like extra tracks, extra rare tracks or something, fine. But this should be your last official album, because this is a hell of a way to go out on a positive note, doing your best. Full circle, 60 years. I think this should be the last album. If it's their last, they went out good. Now, and the reason I also say, and some people are speculating this could be their last, is because the track that's tagged on here at the end, Rolling Stone Blues, as I was mentioning, is a kind of bittersweet track, because that song by Muddy Waters is how the Rolling Stones got their name. They took their name from Rolling Stone Blues, I believe. And it's kind of like a hint that maybe this is the end. That's why they have Sweet Sounds of Heaven, followed by the little tacked on Rolling Stone Blues as a kind of full circle self-tribute kind of thing, acknowledgement of their career. So maybe, I tell you, I can't say enough about this. On one listen, folks, there were even solo Beatle albums that I've heard that don't grab me like this on the first listen. At me as a Beatles guy. So that's saying a lot. I know there are some people that have said they didn't care for this that much. I know a person who said it's a good album, but let's not get carried away. It's not great. It's good, not great, the person said. Another person said that I know said this isn't going to bear repeated listenings for me. It's it's not that great. So, but me, oh yeah, this is a top tier Stones album for me. And I hope you like that review, and I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't. Cheers, folks.